it says 1080, and apparently I don't look 1080. I mean, that's shocking.
It's
Hello
a
there,
poison,
Grey
isn't
House.
it?
Hello, Johnny. 1080
Is it some kind of poison they drop from the air?
Is it?
Yeah, to kill possums.
To kill possums, oh, thank goodness we haven't got any possums here. So,
no, well, there you go, you're safe.
We'll be very, very safe. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. We were just discussing with Ian things that we can't discuss on the show whilst live. We'll see if anyone else pitches up. We're standing by.
For details of that, go to his OnlyFans page.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There are links below or up above. Links around here, whatever all these people say. Well, I don't know. I've got a couple of things I can talk about, unless you guys want to go first. No, all right then. I can't go first. I am astounded. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, we share that tab there. We saw the paperwork going in for this London hospital thing, and I am astounded, absolutely astounded at the number of posts of people not only saying today, "Oh wow, look, it's because it hit the BBC and things like that today." Well, look, it's going forward, but people seeing the wing platform for the very, very first time. I can't believe that any good old-fashioned model flyer hasn't seen the wing platform.
Wing.
Yeah.
What's this? What's wing?
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you are. There you are. There you are. Yeah, I'm just astounded, absolutely astounded. Oh, and was not quite the same, but on a similar vein to RC flyers. I really enjoyed your long wire video about the PC9 X2. That was very well done. Very, very well done. I enjoyed that very much indeed. And it doesn't feel like that radio's that old to me. It feels like it's the brand new. The brand new, very fancy thing that I finally got. But I think I got it for myself for my 40th birthday, so it is 2 years old.
You're only 42, Gary.
Exactly. In life, the universe,
and everything. So much older. Is that what you're supposed to say?
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I'm not in 1080. If I was in 1080, I'd look much, much, much younger. Yeah. That's for certain. So that surprised me. That was one thing. Mick saying, "Is he got?"
Yeah,
I know. That's quite a thing, isn't it? I think they're saying up to 3,000 of them might have gone off. I mean,
that'll produce a response, won't it?
Definitely. No notification. Hello, cool. Yeah, I decided to unsubscribe you for the no. No, I don't get notifications of quite a few channels actually, even though I have clicked the bell and done all those other good things.
Do you think after this latest pager thing that there'll be a big demand for single stick radios?
Maybe, but I mean,
in certain parts of the world,
a very, very spectacular. It puts me in mind a little bit of the Chinese supplying all the smartwatches to US soldiers without asking, sending them off in the mail. You wondered how they managed to get the contract for supplying all those pages. It was a heck of a thing.
There'd be DJI watches, wouldn't they?
There'd be DJI watches.
The US government. Yeah,
exactly. And that's really so. Go on. Yeah, after you.
No, I don't know. I mentioned this last week, but notice that all the new DJI products don't have SD cards anymore, built-in memory. So to get the data, if you've got to connect, so while you're connected, you don't know where that data is going, do you?
Well, funny enough, that leads me very nicely without even planning it into, if you are in London this week, and there's going to Phillips at the MIDRT 2024 Military International Racing Tournament, and that's at the Honourable Artillery Company. They've been doing some basic heats today, and I think from Thursday they'll start live streaming from it. So apparently you'll go to this website to get the live stream link, and Australia is the defending country. But Philip, if you're there, he's stripping off there. If you're there, Philip is there with the NDAA micro SD cards. I mean, it's almost like he made them right on time, isn't it?
It's fantastic that we're safe.
Exactly.
Our data is safe.
No, it is. It's pretty interesting that DJI have done that. It's pretty interesting that they seem to have made a base unit for modern stuff that they can build all the other platforms off as well. There's more thought behind that Neo thing than just here's our new small drone. There's a lot more thought to it. And I know the other story which I haven't got here actually. Let's get it up. Quick, find something to say whilst I'm finding another story.
Oh yeah, Johnny D. That what is it? What do they call that thing? That drone that's being sold in the UK. And Geeks Farner Sean did a video the other day. Apparently he's got all these fake endorsements, including me. So I'll have to do a video about that. Be careful what you say.
I've met that bloke. I've forgotten his name. I've actually met that bloke. And yeah, Geeks has been hammering on at him for years, hasn't he? Really? About that.
When you
thing.
look at
And
it, Kira Ladybird is basically what he's selling. It's like, how old is that? Yeah,
absolutely. That was the thing that was to the NDA cards and to DJI, Malaysia and China Forge, and so on and so forth. So
where's that green drone? Where's that green drone being made?
Malaysia, truly Asia. So yeah, there's definitely more to it than meets the eye with DJI's rollout over there. Definitely. Something is afoot. I thought that was very, very interesting. And another one, look at me going through all these stories. This thing, let's have some opinions from the crowd on this thing.
Oh dear, someone's got carried away with the 3D rendering, watched too much Star Wars and thought if it looks good, it'll sell.
In fact, that does look a bit like the spaceship out of what's it called now? The Last Starfighter. That's going back a long way.
Oh yeah, someone watched too many sci-fi movies. What has it got? Turbines in there as well, has it?
Turbines as well. It's got everything, all the things you could possibly need. And the second I saw it, I thought, well, that's lovely, but if those turbines are going to push it forward at any speed, you'll have to rip the blades off first because the disc
even
area
if you feather the blades,
forward flight, yeah. exactly. The only way would be fold them back, wouldn't it? But I mean, what a palaver that would be.
Three-bladed folding props are pretty unusual because you've got all sorts of issues with that.
Yeah. Well, there's all sorts of places for them to smack the wing, but if it couldn't hover on those turbines alone, and of course it's 3D printed because 3D printing everything is the way forward in the modern world, and
it's made out of solid Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think we have to replace that phrase with AI now every time. I think Bitcoin and the Last Starfighter. Is that an NFT? It should be an NFT.
The pioneers of AI are issuing more warnings about the dangers of unbound AI. And the new O1 model from ChatGPT, they are now hiding because it does reasoning. It actually has reasoning, and not just large language model, but it reasons. And they're saying it's so clever we can't tell you how it reasons. So they're kicking people off who try and work out how it's reasoning by using these clever little queries. That's getting pretty sophisticated, all this AI stuff.
Yeah, but an awful lot of people can't reason. So it'd be very easy to fool people.
You're in trouble now.
It'd be very easy to fool people into considering it was reasoning. I remember in the 80s when we were at school fiddling around with whatever it was with probably ZX81, but there was a very, very simple AI program to us that seemed absolutely magical.
Eliza.
It was written in, I can't remember what it was, but it was written in BASIC and
probably Eliza. That was one of the first.
Yeah, and it staggered us as school children. It absolutely staggered us, and it was so simple. So it was so easy to fool people. It's humbug. And John Arnberg on PR-driven design. It absolutely is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The marketing voice, design everything. Let the engineers come in at the last minute.
Yes, see if it'll actually work. And then this one's come out from Vantage Robotics. They've got their nano drone to hurrah, but I noticed that they don't make big claims of it being blue or NDAA or anything like that. So
covert aerial reconnaissance. That sounds expensive.
It does, doesn't it? And again, that little nano from DJI is probably just as effective as this thing. It probably has just similar spec. Neo, is that whatever?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
whatever it is, whatever. I can't remember the 153 grams. Isn't that what
135? I think.
Yeah, this is 153. So it's a fatty.
This is too heavy. This is a brick.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I was hoping that, but if he doesn't join us, it's because he's been called away, that the CEO of this company, Wind Racers, Simon Murdoch, was going to come and join us and discuss this. And what I find funny about this press release is, where does it say? Look, the Troll Observing Network. There we are. That's quite.
They have nodes under every bridge.
Exactly. You'd look for goats, wouldn't you? That's what you do. It'd be much easier to spot the goats than spot the trolls. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting. But I'll reserve what I say, just in case he turns up. But what I want to say about that platform. But I do have some thoughts on all that sort of a thing.
It looks remarkably like what was the aircraft? An A10, was it? The thing, the twin boom.
Yes, a little bit, or a Mosquito, or
a Mosquito didn't have a big tail like that, but I think
twin engine,
tail, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got a huge cargo bay, and well, all right, I'll say what I want to say. It looks no, it's not VTOL, Johnny. It looks simple, and simple and boring is what is going to win this race. It's not going to be
venture capital, not like that Starship we just saw.
Actually, I didn't think about that before I put that one on. No, exactly right. That Starship will attract venture capital way ahead of this, and yet this is the thing that's going to work, or it does work. It's already worked. They've already got it flying all sorts of places. But for some reason, people are shock horror. It needs a runway. Shock horror. You need to be trained to be able to operate it. Shock horror. But it's got a useful cargo load. And so maybe Simon will join us. Well, maybe not, but probably not, as it's 12 minutes past. And I was expecting Rouse to join us as well from the Honourable Artillery Company, but I suspect he's probably stuck in the pub somewhere. That's
having too much fun.
He is probably having too much fun. And don't forget, he'll be at DroneX. Is that next week, Ian? Yeah, next week. So he'll be at DroneX along with Ian. Ian, and Mark, I think, will be there. It's only you and me that won't be there, Brucey.
They sound like good reasons not to go, if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that'll be quite an interesting conference, I think, for reasons, but we won't go into those reasons right now. And that's me. That's the news that I've found this week. Over to the floor, over to the DJI 25 to an hour rant from Ian.
Yeah, Ian, what do you got?
I've only done that. I've only done that once or twice ever. So you
bring the numbers up now
with the stereotype that doesn't fit.
Tell us about your anamorphic foyers.
Well, on foyers, I've bumped up an MOD question about Gatwick to the Information Commissioner. I think there's going to be a lot more of that before, up and then run up to Christmas, because there's quite a few freedom of informations where they've needlessly been delayed. And it all works in my favour in the end, because I never bump them straight to the ICO when I can do. A lot of these have been there for, some of them a couple of years, so they've really got no excuse to say, oh well, we've not had enough time to deal with it, or this excuse or that excuse. So I think that's just going to be a pattern, unfortunately, for the time being, just to squeeze those last few Gatwick related facts. There's a couple of things aren't even to do with Gatwick at the minute. There's a few wider drone questions, as we discussed before. There was the shooting down of a drone where it looks like it was just closed, which doesn't set a good precedence for other people in that same situation in future. And I think there's probably a few other niggly things I've probably forgotten about since, but I think it's going to keep me busy for the certainly into early 2025, when all that stuff starts to come back from the ICO, especially if it needs more pushing. The ICO have rolled over a few times when it's like, especially with like the police, because it's a lack of technical knowledge themselves. But I do try especially these days, just to forewarn them and explain and say, just be aware that, you know, these are tactics that have been tried before, and they're not, you know, stuff like when you say aeroscopes, national security, it's a load of bollocks. But I've got to kind of argue that all up front, really, and just say, look, you're being played.
Did we talk about the timeline one? Can we talk about the timeline one? Did we talk about it last week? I can't remember.
I can't remember what is the timeline one. Oh, that's the one that's with Sussex. Well, I got the timeline thing back from Sussex Police. It was the other one, which was the cost of aeroscope, and that one's just that one. Sussex Police are just arguing that there literally was no aeroscope. They didn't have any counter drone system at all. Period. The photos that are all in the press and that of it, they don't know what it is. There must have been some bloke just stood on their roof with a suitcase, and they don't know why.
That's right. Yes.
But that was one I've asked Richard Ryan to have a look and see if he will do me a letter to the ICO taking that complaint on further. So I'll just have to give him a bit of a nudge, because obviously he's a busy chap. But yeah, he did offer on that particular one, because it's one that's just dragged on and dragged on and dragged on, and it really shouldn't. So that's like one of my worst ones. Although there are a few. There is, in fact, you can just show it just for comedy value. Let's find it. It's one I've not pursued. I kind of just leave there to Stu, knowing that it's Sussex Police are never, ever, 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 ever going to answer it. But it's one I can cite as an example whenever the ICO tries to say that Sussex Police are trying to get on top of freedom of information. So I'll put it in the private chat now so you can bring it up and share it with the audience.
Okay, I'll bring it up here.
It is now, once we get to 2025, it won't be long before this hits 3 years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look who was named there.
Yes, I assume that person, yes.
So this person that we all know had a conversation with Sussex Police at the time of the Gatwick drone, offering his services, which were knocked back. And I wanted the transcript of that call, which they do have, but they're refusing to provide. And they're refusing to provide it because it doesn't fit in with the narrative that Sussex Police have told everyone then at the time and since. So that's why that one's been ignored. But yeah, at least I've got that there to say, look, Sussex Police won't answer it. So there was another that they hadn't answered as well, and I just failed to spot it, because obviously I've had quite a few. Well, what had happened with them? I knew they weren't replying to any of them. So while all that stuff was going on with the ICO, I thought, well, there's just no point me doing anything with them, because it'll be the same old thing. And it was one, when I looked at it recently, I thought I'd have liked it answered. So I've done it as kind of a new one, saying technically it's not a new one because you've been sat on it for 2 years and haven't given me an answer. So that's one that's back with them. There's quite a few at the minute. They're choosing not to answer. So they really are quite reluctant to answer anymore on this, even though they've lost at tribunal. And if these go to tribunal again, they'll probably lose again and have to do it. But I think from their viewpoint, that they don't, they'd rather just push it for as long as they can, and what happens, I guess.
I think, well, look out for some impromptu live streams from us next week, and a couple of videos during DroneX. We hope to get Ian roving around with the camera there, and just look out for impromptu videos next week, dear viewers, wherever you might be in the world. I can't really say any more than that. There's an awful lot going on behind the scenes on the FOIA front at the moment. Some new information has come to pass, or some forgotten information, I suppose I should really say, and it's quite exciting, really. But whether actually we'll get to the truth of this in our lifetimes, I don't know. I really don't know.
Does that mean there wasn't a drone at Gatwick then?
Well, I think it's just got to prove it, haven't we? That's the thing. And how can you prove something that's not there? You know,
the burden of proof is on those who make the claims. That's the way it works. And they haven't met that burden of proof yet, have they? So,
they certainly haven't.
I think
it's interesting because back in those, was 2019, wasn't it? Gatwick drone, was it? It's that far long ago? Something like that.
2018.
Oh, I'm getting old so quick. When you look on Google News and type in drone back then, it was all about there's a new drone from this company and these drone delivery trials and the drone feature. I went onto Google News just before, and it's all about Ukraine, Russia, attack drones. The whole thing has changed. The whole perception of drone. We thought it was bad back then, but now it's just like totally different. And I see in Florida, a guy got arrested trying to smuggle drone parts to Russia just recently. Yeah. And of course, the media again doing their thing. There's been another beat up by the media about an Airprox report where an RAF plane narrowly missed a drone, a legally flown drone at 2,200 feet, only missed it by 100 feet. Yet that's strange. They saw that drone, yet it was the airport in the USA where a Delta Airlines plane knocked the tail off another Delta Airlines plane.
Yeah.
They can't see a plane right in front of them. It's like these pilots are so variable in their visual acuity.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been sadly quite a few really terrible crude accidents in the last couple of weeks. Really, really sad ones. Well, not sad. I won't go too much, but yeah, terrible things that shouldn't have happened. That absolutely shouldn't have happened. It's and in Bicester, there's a big counter UAS conference going to happen at Bicester Airfield, and I would love to go and try and aggress that. I really would. I've already worked out all the vectors I'd use, because when there are these conferences showing all the gear and they switch it on, it should be by default you should be able to attack it free reign and see how you get on.
Exactly.
And not with explosives, but if you're going to show off, you're going to show off about it.
Why don't they have a challenge? Why don't these companies put up these counter-drone UAS people put up challenges and invite the public to come along and try and defeat their counter-UAS systems? They would learn a lot, but maybe they've got more to lose than to learn.
Well, they always do it on ranges and stuff like that, don't they? In very sterile environments, miles.
Yeah, and they don't invite the public to do it, do they? They have their own controlled, so I think to be effective, you've got to take all comers. Like these software companies that have these things, put their software out there. If you can crack it, we'll give you $5,000. They're confident and they use that information to improve the product. Why don't the counter UAS people do the same? I'd love to have a go at that.
Yeah, I think we all would, wouldn't we? I think we could.
And it would make for a better product.
Quite a credible red team, I reckon.
Yeah. I think the problem is most of these counter UAS companies realize their products are pretty crap anyway, and they just make themselves look silly because people would defeat them with ease almost. Oh, speaking of which, did you see that the company in the USA is still trying to lobby the FCC to gain exclusive access to the 900 megahertz ISM band for GPS backup?
Oh, there you go.
And it looks like it could be highly considered because they're offering a lot of money, and money. So that could see the end, or not necessarily the end, but the very much condensing of the 900 megahertz ISM band into just a couple of megahertz, and then all your 900 megahertz RC systems would have to be modified or would be illegal.
So you're saying backup for GPS? What exactly are they trying to do with that?
Well, they're trying to produce a frequency alternative to GPS, mainly for synchronizing signals, because you've got all these 5G towers and everything now totally rely on the high precision of GPS. If that signal is blocked or fails for some reason, they need a backup. Otherwise, the cell network falls apart. So they want a satellite broadcasting equivalent to GPS that provides that level of precision and timing, so that because so much of the communication infrastructure now is reliant on that, they can't rely solely on GPS.
That's quite interesting, isn't it? Because of course, there's, as things fill up that are radio devices and fill up spectrum, there's only so much spectrum available. Full stop, finished. It's done. And 50 years ago, it would seem impossible to have loads of stuff operating at 900 megs, like loads of stuff operating at 900 megs.
But they're stealing stuff from hams all the time. The ham radio crowd are losing spectrum all over the place, because it's, as a hobby, that's shrinking a little bit. But because of the financial value of the spectrum, they're kicking them off frequencies and saying, go somewhere else. You've got other places to, So yeah, that's kind of worry, because we've got all the spectrum. We've gone from high frequency used to be 100 megahertz, and now we're talking gigahertz. But gigahertz doesn't go far, and it's not good for omnidirectional stuff. There are physical limitations when you get to those frequencies. Path loss is really high, so there's some things you can only do with lower frequencies.
Yeah, absolutely. Penetration, old boy. Still 3/4 running crossfire. It'll be very interesting now that people are just getting there. I'm really quite keen to have one of those. Have you been sent one of those Gemini radios yet, or one of the modules?
I've got the Gemini, which is the dual 2.4. I don't have the 2.4 900.
900.
The thing is that when I look at that, I think I sympathise with the radio manufacturers to a degree, because everyone that wants a radio's got one, and radios have been so cheap. Most people have got 2 or 3. And so if you're someone manufacturing these things and the hobby is sort of now not in this massive growth phase, your sales have tanked, because you can't convince people to upgrade, and new users aren't coming in droves. What do? So you come out and try and provide reasons that people must upgrade. So they've come out with this, you need 2.4 and 900 megahertz. Reality is the link budget in your average 2.4 gig radio system is way beyond anything you can legally fly. So why would you want a dual frequency? It's extra complexity, extra cost, extra weight. Why do you want that? You're not going to gain anything in true terms unless you plan to fly 100 kilometers BVLOS. But we all know that that's impossible, because too many people would die.
Yes. I wouldn't want it for anything like that. Plainly, I mean, that's just crazy talk. Absolute crazy talk. Well, part of it is because when I thought, I'll find my 9X 2, whatever it was called. I'll find it out and have that on here. Then I realised, bugger, I gave it to my second son and another couple of radios. I've realised when I look around, it's, no, my sons have got my radio gear. I have to get some more. Devils like to fly model gliders and stuff like that. How very dare they? I need to re-equip and get modern, I suppose.
Yes.
But I really don't know what I would go for. It's all a bit bewildering.
Well, the thing is, it's all pretty good. I mean, it's really down to what color do you like and the feel of the sticks, because most of it all works really well. There's no systems out there with major flaws that I'm aware of at the moment. So you just choose what's a good deal on the day. You go ELRS because that is now the de facto standard. But as a point, ELRS is actually a bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest, because I got that pink transmitter and I had no receivers on version 3. All on version 2. So I have to reflash receivers to make it work. And then the transmitters I used to use with those receivers, I have to flash them up to version 3 as well. So otherwise they won't work with it. So it's a constant nightmare of upgrade, make sure you've got compatible versions. And it's like the old days, put a crystal in, turn it on, fly. Yeah, shoot down your neighbor. But I mean, it was so much simpler back. No firmware updates. My original Tyrannus is running on the original firmware. That was the last of the, you don't have to upgrade anything. Things after that, everything you've got to upgrade, the Edge TX or the OpenTX every now and then to make sure it's current, and you've got to update your firmware and your receiver and your module. And it's a never-ending saga. I mean, a lot of people, I guess, like that. But then again, there are a lot of people who don't want to sit in front of a computer. They want to go flying. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think you can put, it's changed, isn't it? I think you can put Mavlink over ELRS now as well. So that's all things. And I'm wondering also if you can check out a few, especially with that dual band one, if you could check out some, I forgot what it's called. What's that Meshtastic packets? Because every YouTuber's got to have a Meshtastic.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you're going to fly real BVLOS, you just need a whole lot of aircraft stationed every 50k or so, to just act as a relay for the Meshtastic. And who cares about latency? Exactly. You've got a flight controller. You just point in the general direction. That's all good.
Well, exactly. All you need is an ops normal. It's a pity none of them fall back to sort of a really slowish. Because you don't need that real-time horizon and all that sort of thing. No. You just need an ops normal. I'm here going this way. All is good. Here is the wind. As long as the red light
isn't flashing, you're good to go.
Yeah. So I'm surprised there's not more. I suppose it's because people aren't flying BVLOS. That's why.
No one flies BVLOS, Gary. Because, I haven't seen any deaths reported, so no one can be flying BVLOS. That grates my gears. That does that. These people sitting in offices and wearing suits who've never done this tell us it's way too dangerous, and then they're going to write the manual for us, and they've never done it. And we've been doing it for, or not me, but other people have been doing it for over a decade with complete safety. I mean, my God, you know, and they draw this equation that, BVLOS, you'll need this great big 85-pound drone capable of delivering toothbrushes to your neighbors. And so it's going to be really dangerous. So you're going to have all these safety things in place, whereas people fly sub 250s and, you know, they can't hurt a flea, but they're going to have to follow exactly the same rule set as these massive great drones that are going to fly BVLOS. You know, it's just...
Well, British Rail, not British Rail, Network Rail. Network Rail were touting last week their big BVLOS trial. It was a kilometre either side of their launch point. And well, in America, what's it not assisted? What do they call it? Where you have an
extended
observer
visual
down.
line of sight.
Extended. There's got extended visual line of sight. So that would be a done deal there anyway. And here it's 15 kilometres is what you can go to. And that's standard, and there's no big fuss about BVLOS here, and we're going to have this trial, that trial, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's like, you can go out to 15K as long as you got fitted with the right gear.
Who's going to be the first one to hack the Neo so it'll go out a kilometre on the droney shots? Ooh. And if it did, is it beyond visual line of sight if you've got no control over it? Does it matter? No.
Well, yes. And
it's
so
like
this
flight,
red thing says, yeah. Cliff's talking about RID being a big load of nothing.
Absolutely. So far.
Well, it's the leading drug for network remote ID, isn't it? That's the trouble.
Yeah.
So whilst this is meh.
But what they'll do is the way bureaucrats and legislators work is, in a couple of years' time, they'll come back and say, RID has been such a great success. Since RID was introduced, nobody has died as a result of these things. RID has been fantastic, and now we need to take it to the next level where it'll be even safer, and even fewer people won't die. And so it's been such they roll it out in stages. So look at this, fantastic. And by that stage, everyone's going, RID. Oh yeah, I think I've got RID. I don't know. But then it comes in like a wrecking ball, and suddenly people have got massive costs, and not just fixed costs, but ongoing costs.
And it'll be there to enable BVLOS. Everything will be there to enable BVLOS.
For commercial
people
use.
Talk but then people just talk utter nonsense about all of this. They really do talk utter nonsense about what they think it's going to look like, what the problems are, and here comes a Boeing or whatever. It's just it's a huge sky, It's a huge sky.
It's a massively huge. I've been waiting for the FAA to come out and start prosecuting people with their Neos, because I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube on monetized channels with the Neo. You have to have a Part 107 to do that.
You do.
How many of these people who've just bought a Neo and go walking down the road and have it follow on behind them? How many of those got a Part 107? They're in breach of the FAA's regulations. They can't use under the recreational exemption because they're making money out of the video from that drone. And the FAA, I'm sure they'll come along at some stage and say, "Oh no, you can't do that," And being a store-bought drone, it's supposed to have standard remote ID, right? But what if you're not using a transmitter? How does it know where the operator's standing? It can do the takeoff point, which is the module-based remote ID, but it can't tell where the operator is, because if you do a drone and you walk away, you're not there anymore. It's not real-time updating of the operator position.
That's very true. I hadn't considered that in that one.
And it doesn't matter under recreational use. It doesn't matter for recreational use because you don't need to have remote ID on sub 250. But for 107, all craft must have remote ID, regardless of weight. So you can't use that drone for Part 107 operations unless you're using it with a transmitter, with whatever. You can't use the autonomous feature for 107 operations. And you have to have a 107 to put videos on a monetized YouTube channel. So many people are breaking the rules now.
I'm also confused about that in the UK, because I'm seeing people, out on the streets doing videos with the Neo. Now, my recollection was that when you were using a drone in autonomous mode, you still had to have somebody on the sticks. The idea being, if it malfunctions, you take it over and control it. And so, if you're leaving it just to do its own thing, you're definitely not doing that. So, I mean, to be honest, these things are so small.
Yeah,
we should have more flexible rules, but the reality is, we don't. It doesn't give you the right to just ignore them. So
that's why I said they have to either change the rules or say under 150 grams, no rules. because you don't need them. Because 150 grams of plastic, you're more likely to get hit in the face by a shopping bag blowing in the wind. I mean, and suffocate. So should we be regulating things like children's toys like this, which they fall under that category, really? Do we need to regulate them at all? Why are we making work for people?
Just searching the weight of a cricket ball. 155 to 163 grams, which is 5.5 to 5. And what's a base? A baseball, the baseball's smaller, isn't it?
No, a bit bigger, I think, but probably a bit
larger.
Are
they? Let's have a look.
But
they are 5 to 5.25, so 142 to 0.149 kilos. Football.
But even a football.
Yeah, I mean, what's a football? Yeah.
Rugby ball's about 440 grams or something, I think, from memory.
Especially the big leather ones that we used to play with the wooden shorts.
Especially when you fill them with water, eh?
Yeah, a football is 410 to 460 grams.
Yep.
Wow. All right. And
especially the best thing to do is get one of those, fill them with water and put them on the pitch, so someone comes along, gives it a kick, breaks their ankles. Great.
And a rugby ball is 410 to 460. Well, there we are. So, yes. So there are, of course, they are like in the regulation of, Stu. Bruce says, it's only checking my emails end up in this spam.
Oh, yeah, I did. I will get back to you, Stu. I did read those the other day. Actually, I was checking my spam folder and I found them. So I'll drop your line today. But I mean, the thing is, the regulators say, well, that's not flying, it's ballistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not. It can't sustain flight and it can't be controlled in 3-axis from the surface of the Earth. That's the that's the definition.
Neither can a Neo be controlled in 3-axis if you're flying it without a phone or a thing. So does it really? Do the drone laws apply? Well, I mean, free flight. They fall under free flight, don't they? It's a free flight model.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mick mentioned 2007 was his first BVLOS. I'm wondering, Mick, if you're still listening as you're driving in your car in Australia there, was that the Outback Challenge? Because Australia was quite far ahead of the game with all that sort of a thing. And there was quite a bit of BVLOS in the Outback Challenge. And that was the origin story for a lot of...
Did they ever find him?
Yeah. They found him. They dropped water bottles. They did all sorts of things. They did all sorts of things. Let's not forget that players' rugby soccer balls been GPS tracked for some time. Have they? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, but it makes sense.
I don't do that
on the screen,
soccer thing. Yeah, I thought they did that with cameras. I didn't realise they did it with GPS as well. What other? Trying to think what other sports equipment flies around. But that's enough. So that thing's way less than way less than a football. Even a 250 gram.
I did a video with our council. I said, look, you've got people kicking rugby balls in the parks next to kids, little kids, and you've got grown men training rugby, kicking balls around. The balls are bouncing right next to the kids. Yet you won't let me fly a tiny drone which I have full control over. What's wrong with you people? Oh, rugby's different. Kids get killed by a rugby ball. That's safer.
Yeah. Well, the children do get killed playing sport.
Well, golf. How many people die playing golf every year, eh?
52 grams. 52 grams for a golf ball.
Is that dying in Florida?
No. They get eaten by alligators in Florida. Trying to retrieve their balls from the water traps.
So golf balls are quite a bit lighter than I thought.
Yeah, but they travel a lot
medicine
faster.
Ball. They do. Well, that
smack you on the head. Yeah. And was it Tiger Woods or someone? There was some video where he's teeing off and the ball's sliced and hit a member of the crowd, and they weren't very happy. Cricket ball is pretty dangerous, especially when I throw them, Stu. If you've ever been
medicine ball is 1 to 11 kilos.
But it's full of medicine. Makes you better.
Exactly, that's right. Smacks you and you get better. Cricket ball is pretty dangerous.
That's why you wear protective groin wear when you're playing cricket. Always wear a cup.
It's exactly, yeah. Oh, it's cricket season here now. Oh, it's just started again. We've got a festival coming up at school on the weekend. Oh, horrors.
6 days of intense boredom.
Exactly. And I am not a huge cricket fan, and on Friday, so tomorrow it's going to be 32, I think, tomorrow's centigrade, and on Friday when the festival starts, there's forecast snow. Hooray!
I think it's cruel to make children. It's cruel to make children play cricket because they can't have the gin and tonics that are supposed to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I can do it for them. I can do it on their behalf, so it's all fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Yeah, no, it's 5 hours of complete boredom. Yeah, so we've worked out that there are things flying around that are way heavier than that little thing.
Yeah, Cliff's right. Rock fishing. Rock fishing is the most deadly sport in New Zealand, and even when you catch a rock, you can't eat the damn thing.
Yeah, I say it sounds like New Zealand is a place where you would fish for rocks, but there we are. What was I going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say.
You were going to tell us how your dementia's going.
Exactly. I remember now. It's around that the whole. It really, DJI have really thrown a curveball at regulators for the lack of control of that device. Yeah. They really have.
I was going to say, speaking of dementia. Bruce, which is not Bruce as a dementia, but Bruce has been having to deal with EHang investors this week.
Yes. The EHang investors trying to pump the stock. They don't like the sound of reality. But you notice that guy was a devout Christian, and he was also a fan of the World Economic Forum. I think he was not the average
person. Well, the things you're going to line up for him. Yeah, no, he was a bit of a nut job, isn't he? But EHang are in all sorts of trouble. Any thoughts on the Nomad system flying 900 and 2.4 at the same time? We have actually spoken about that because, Stu, I've realised I've given my radios away to my sons are borrowing them, so I need to invest in new gear, and I don't really know what to get, but I do like the sound of that. But Bruce doesn't.
When was the last time you got shot down flying 2.4 gigahertz?
Well, anytime I incorrectly set up the aircraft and needed an excuse to say that.
But I mean, if you've got a bad 2.4 install, you got it's an even worse 900 megahertz install. The antennas are bigger; it's harder to route them in a sensible place. Certainly with quadcopters, 900 megahertz is any quad that's running Crossfire, it's a pain in the backside because the antennas are so big. I think it has its applications, but 2.4 gigs is more than suitable for most people. The link budget, you've got heaps in reserve. With ELRS, you've got like 20k of range. So I don't know many craft that will actually fly 40k, 20k out and back. So you're probably not going to use it. And also what people forget about 900 megahertz is there's a lot less bandwidth on 900 megahertz. It's a very narrow band compared to 2.4. We've got 83, 84 megahertz on 2.4. On 900 megahertz, we've got 10 or 12 or megahertz or something. So you can't run as many. If everyone jumps on the 900 megahertz band, we're going to start seeing latency go up because there's signals are competing. You can't create bandwidth where it doesn't exist. So when you've got a whole lot of people there all bouncing around, the collisions between packets get higher. So you end up dropping packets. You get less consistent latency. On 2.4 gigs, you'd need hundreds of people to have that problem. But on 900 megahertz, if you had a dozen people flying at a field all on 900 megs, you might start to notice the effects of collisions of the packets.
I'm definitely, I just, I mean, I think I've got some friends that might be interested in long range flying because, of course, I wouldn't, obviously, as we've previously discussed. There's no way I'd like to go to the top of the mountain that's just about 40 k's over the back of me over there. I would never do that sort of thing.
Yeah. The other problem with 900 megahertz is there's a lot of stuff using it already. And its signal travels a long way. So if you're going to be interfered with, that source of interference might be a lot further away than a 2.4 gig. And if you've got a Wi-Fi router operating, 5 kilometers away, it's not going to affect you because the path loss for that signal is so high. But if you've got on 900 megahertz something operating, say a baby video minder or something like that, that's going to have far more effect on you because that signal will travel a lot further. So your radius under which you're subject to interference grows dramatically. So whereas with 2.4, it's a fairly small radius. Outside that radius, nothing's going to interfere with you. So there's ups and downs.
Indeed. There's some good maths. I bet you'll probably know if that's right or not, but I'm sure it is. And that's what it's all about. And for 2010, when the Football World Cup was down here, the CAA were talking about regulations for drones that are going to allow to operate around the Football World Cup. The regulator actually said, well, if it doesn't have if it has an equivalent energy to a kick football, then it's okay. And that was their thinking, which I thought was quite good.
Yeah, it doesn't always tell the true story, though, does it? Because there's the material involved, how quickly the energy is transferred. If you hit something, that's even more important than the amount of energy.
Well, that brings us all the way back round to, was it the BBC that had that minced up various drones and put them into a thing and fired them out of a cannon? Yes, that was the
replace the battery with a steel block. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. What's 2.49 Mavlink? Yes. Drone droid. Yeah, the Mavlink thing has piqued my interest. It has definitely piqued my interest.
Mind you, a lot of people run Mavlink as a separate link anyway, separate transmitter down to a laptop or something, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But if you can do it
having it through your transmitter means you have to tether your transmitter to your laptop if you want to do laptopy things.
Yeah. Well, when you're flying autonomous stuff, your transmitter is the thing that sits on the roof of your car that you have to remember to take off the roof
before
of your car when you drive before you drive away. Yeah, that's all the transmitter is. It has a very little. It's definitely not something you want to be touching.
But that's not flying. That's not flying. That's
no,
it's
like
not simulator,
flying.
Really. It's not flying.
It is. It is. No, it's true. It is.
It's like BVLOS. What a waste of time. You build this wonderful, glorious model, and then you fly it where you can't even see it.
Yes.
Why would you do
that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I made this great thing. Made this great thing, and we can't see it though. Now, what's this Ramdon go? I'm not clever at this stuff. Always learning. Why do RX band mod signals? Alarm was a chopper thing, did a low thing today. I don't understand that at all, Ramdonko. Maybe Bruce can maybe go, oh, he's got his Rotor Riot shirt on. Oh
yes. Gotta support the war effort.
Absolutely. Yeah, they had more investors today. I forgot to put that story in actually. But yeah, they had some more investment and something or other. I'm not sure that they're actually going to be able to scale as quickly as they think they are. I'm not sure about that at all.
There's a replicator project going anyway in the States. They must have made huge numbers now.
Up to tens of ones.
They should give it to Elon Musk. He'd have those drones flying on Mars already.
Yeah, but he'd run it into the ground for some spurious reason, wouldn't he? Well, if you go to, have I still got that page here somewhere? If you go and listen to this, I'll put this link actually in the side, and there is a podcast on the side of this that is worth listening to, and this is the drone racing that Philip's at. But there's a podcast.
Do they have guns on them? I mean, if you're going to be military drone racing, you might as well have offensive weapons on the damn things. It'd be like dog fighting, wouldn't it? It'd be much better.
No, it would.
Boys be allowed to.
Flying dogs? That's not cool. You're not allowed to fly dogs. That wouldn't be good. The podcast, the guy mentions that they really should be chucking money at youngsters in Army, Navy, Air Force units and letting them crack on with it. And it's right. That is what should happen.
We got World War III coming just around the corner. I mean, you got Putin setting up to nuke the Arctic or something as a show of force, and all sorts of stuff going on around there. You got in China and North Korea, and the whole world is not global warming, but it is politically warming. And so when that all kicks off, people with drone skills will be in high demand to ward off the invading troops.
It'll be very, very, very quick global warming. That happens. Very, very, very quick.
Then we get the nuclear winter afterwards. It all balances out.
Absolutely. Oh, it's going to be worse down here, though, isn't it? Because there'll be nobody home and up top, and then we'll all get poisoned. But anyway, on that happy note,
I better get an extra packet of pork scratchings.
Yeah, absolutely. But that it's worth listening to that podcast on there and their opinions, because that replicator thing is just absolute nonsense. Really, it's over a year it's been going now. I don't think any. Oh no, I'm fibbing. AeroVironment got a contract. Well, there was nothing new. There's nothing fabulous about giving an established military contractor more of a contract. So it's not bought anything new. 3 times this week on this topic, with 3 times this week, people from China have tried to sell me that fiber optic cable that's running out of the thing. Yeah, I've had 3 dots. Oh, and there were some other really weird things people tried to sell me, like steam baths and things like that. So it's a very weird week for offerings.
Were they just knocking on your door or what? Is it door-to-door guys?
They're just coming on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, big suitcase and just opened it up, and here you are.
Brushes,
exactly what
the
whole
lot, snake oil, and
5 kilometers fiber optic cable. Yeah, exactly. I'm still. There we are. Mixed teaching. Well, there's Air Force cadets at this thing, Mick. From Australia. It's a pity they're going to lose, because obviously the Royal Air Force is going to win. It's a shame they're going to lose, but there we are. You can't have everything.
It's interesting. But you have Air Force cadets. We have the ATC here, Air Training Corp, which is like, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we have tried to get them to come out to the airfield and get involved with model aircraft and drones. Not interested. Too busy running barbecues for. Absolutely. It's like, what the hell? And they had the New Zealand Air Force. They've got a couple of little air tours, which they call it flying checkers or something. They've got checkers on, using for aerobatics and things. They flew all the way from halfway down the North Island up to Tokoroa to take some of these ATC people for a ride. This is going back over probably 12, 13 years ago, because I was at the airfield. These 2 planes pull up and the kids didn't turn up. It was an overcast morning and they all stayed home and slept in, I think. So it was like, what the hell's wrong with kids?
No, I can't. No, I see.
True.
I know Mick also does the gliding, the sailplane flying in Australia as well, and as in the UK, they're all into that. That's still a sought after thing to get your flying scholarship. So you're gliding and then your fixed wing, etc., etc. I can't. No.
What's the same thing, Mick? What's the same thing?
Yeah, look, Mick saying schooling of RC planes. It's the same thing with the air cadets. Yeah, they're called Royal Air Force cadets in England. I think now they've changed their name. RC planes guys. Yeah, our squadron did as well. We made terrible model aircraft, but it kept us busy. Nothing's changed actually. Nothing's changed for me at all. But we cobbled all sorts of things together to try and get them flying. There we are, 40 cadets just in SA. You're not in SA, you're in Australia. Go on, mate.
I always wanted to buy some balsa seeds and grow some balsa trees. Do you see that video I put on Twitter with the processing of the growing and process? It was quite interesting about the balsa trees, how quickly they grow and everything. But now I think I'm going to get some foam boards.
Are they really that light? Are they really that light? That's extraordinary.
They must not have much water in them, eh?
I don't know.
It's a hardwood. It's a hardwood.
I couldn't believe it when that bloke lifted up the whole thing. That looked nuts to me. That looked absolutely nuts.
It'd be great to make airplanes out of.
It would be just a ticket, wouldn't it? Look, we are definitely talking nonsense. We're 53 minutes. We're talking nonsense. Ian's being very quiet.
I'm going to derail things now with some sci-fi. Does anyone remember this show?
War of the Worlds. Which one?
No, this is the 90s
ones, yeah.
Yeah, I think 1988
the Tom Cruise one.
1988 to 1990. But on the UK, this was on 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So whenever I mention to people, no one has got a clue that this ever existed. So if anyone in the chat knows of this version, say so, and then I don't feel completely alone.
So it's not the Tom Cruise one.
Anyway. Off the topic of that, but by the way, the quality of that certainly on season 1 isn't particularly great. They could have done better justice to the DVD quality. But anyway, Blake 7, they're bringing out a Blu-ray of it now with new redone special effects for the ships. And I think, Gary, you might have tagged me in that.
Yes, I did.
Are they doing it right, though? Because I've got a Star Trek, a reissuing of the original Star Trek series. And they use the crappiest CGI for the Enterprise. It ruins it. It's like really horrible CGI graphics. It's absolutely awful. And they've remastered everything else, but the graphics are terrible.
I have a feeling they might have used models for this to try and keep the kind of similar look more updated, but I've not paid that much attention to it yet because I don't want to tempt myself into buying any more things. But
has that got Jeff Wayne's score in that one? You know, War of the Worlds, the music?
Oh, this, I don't think it has. This was kind of a bit of a darker, more sinister interpretation of it, which was actually quite enjoyable, but fortunately only lasted the 2 seasons.
There's quite a few versions on YouTube at the moment. There's some really good B-grade, D-grade sci-fi on YouTube. I've been watching a few. Some of them are really, really crap. It's great. I love that stuff.
Blake's silly nature of Blake. I enjoyed Blake 7 when it was on.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
everybody loved Avon.
The story itself was good, so that still holds up. It's one of those shows that would genuinely. I'm kind of surprised with. I mean, I don't understand it with the BBC. You've got franchises like that they could use for the international markets. Ooh, somebody worked on Voyager. What do you do? Voyager was a good show.
7 of 9.
And talking of Voyager, the Doctor in that in a new Star Trek spin-off.
Richard Picardo.
Yes.
Yeah. He's in a lot of sci-fi, actually.
Yes, he does. He gets kind of guest roles. It was in, what was it? The Orville as well, wasn't it? With the Doctor out of Enterprise as well.
Yeah, he's been in a heap of those things. So, but Voyager was good. I like 7 of 9, and I like the Borg. So that was all good. I didn't like Janeway that much. She was too much like Catherine Hepburn.
Don't give a damn.
The artist is quite cool, but I thought a lot of the stuff in Voyager was still drawn prints and that, wasn't it? The background, some of them, as well as a bit of CG.
Yeah, it was quite a step ahead of the Next Generation, though.
Yes. Someone's mentioned The Expanse. That was absolutely brilliant on Amazon. If you've not seen it, definitely worth watching. And absolutely good. They didn't continue with it. I mean, it was clearly an expensive show to make, but it was really quality sci-fi. I mean, that and For All Mankind, which is on Apple, are like the 2 best sci-fi of recent years.
But I don't think we must all pay homage to the image behind Gary with William Hartnell on the original Doctor Who and the Daleks and the cardboard cutout walls and things. That the modern Doctor Who, it went good for a while, but now it's just pretty crap, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't like the new Daleks. It's rubbish when they can make them fly. That was a silly idea. That was a silly idea. That's not a real Dalek. You're not going to hide behind the sofa for those ones. And I think I haven't seen it, but there's been quite a controversial series. I think the last one in the UK. Doctor Who. I don't know if you watched it.
I watched a couple of it to have a nosy, but it was just too.
They've got a coloured gentleman now, haven't they, playing Doctor Who?
Yeah, he does. To be fair, he does a perfectly good job. The acting and whatnot, it's all right, but the stories were just very. I don't know.
I mean, the original
childish, which is what you kind of expect anyway, but it just wasn't. It wasn't my thing.
But the original was corny without trying to be corny. I think they're just trying to be corny now.
Well, my eldest, he's at university in Swansea, and they did a lot of the filming there. So he was sending us pictures of the monsters without a head and all that walking past his room and all that sort of thing when that was going on. So we saw some of those monsters ahead, but I haven't seen the series. And
I think with the way this talk has gone, you should have Brandon on the show. And we should have a sci-fi episode dedicated start to finish.
Well, actually, Brandon is the master really of creating 3D models for software in the loop simulations for Archipilot. He makes models for all sorts of people because he's a 3D guy. So, well, he is 3D. I hope he's 3D. I mean, it'd be terrible if he was 2D. But I believe, that's his thing. So if you need
every time we talk about eVTOL and urban mobility, that's science fiction.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely, it is, isn't it? And that's and they're beginning to fall apart now.
I was going to say, on that topic, there's probably been more 3D renders created than there has actual products.
And now that AI is involved, there'll just be a slew of them.
Yeah, but they're beginning to fall apart, aren't they?
We should run a sweepstake. The first person to be unalived by an EHang eVTOL.
Yeah.
It won't be too long from now.
No, it won't. They've just run another set of trials, haven't they? But they were uncrewed.
They keep presenting this. Oh, it's in use.
In Japan.
And I'm not convinced it is yet. Although
did they just get certified in Japan?
Did they?
I don't know if it's a proper certification. No. They keep getting permission to do little trials, and they over-egg them to make them sound more.
Yeah, I think it's a James Bond certification, license to kill.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the point was with that is the use case they're going for is for tourist flights. Well, that's a novelty. It's a bit like you almost going for amusement park. And market.
There's parallels here. Wonderful parallels to be drawn between EHang and the Martin Jetpack, because the Martin Jetpack was going to be super, super popular, and there was all this, everyone was going to buy one. And as things started to fall apart, they were selling rides in the Jetpack as a tourism attraction. You can see the writing on the wall for this thing.
Where are those then? Did they sell those off? Because those must be near you. Are they in your hangar?
There's a big auction for the Jetpack. Yeah, all the bits and pieces all got sold off.
And you did buy them?
Hey?
And you didn't buy them?
Well, it's all super expensive because of the collector's value, unique.
I'm just pausing because, of course, I have to now add a different image behind me just for the audience. There we are. Let's see how my head is in the way of it. There we go.
Ooh.
That's
I recognize those.
Is that Buck Rogers? Now
Buck Rogers, yeah.
Yes.
I buck one and he buck two. Yes. Yes. Exactly.
What's up, Buck?
Yes.
Exactly. There we are, Cliff.
There's a bizarre thing with the world of Twitter, in that someone that follows me that's into drones is also very much into his 80s stuff. And he actually had the costume designer of Airwolf talking.
Wow.
Yes, this is the costume designer, and he just lets all the gossip spill about the actors he's worked with. And I have a funny feeling he mentioned somebody up at Rogers, so that's what just got me thinking. I have to go back and look. But the guy off Airwolf, he was really, really difficult to work with. He's saying he always came in drunk and drugged up, and it was that drunk they had to get the stuntman to do the run into the helicopter.
Rewrite the script and put staggers to helicopter.
Yeah, but but that was rubbish. The other one was better. What was the other one called?
Blue Thunder.
Blue Thunder was better.
Yeah.
Much better. Yeah. Much better.
That was great because they had RC helicopters, and that stage RC helicopters are new, and I watched it. I thought, I'd love one of those RC helicopters.
The funny thing is, though, that towards one of the time as well, because you had the FAA that signed off on the movie company effectively putting a piece of wood, wooden frame cockpit and pretend cannon onto an aircraft to fly it around, and all the fuss we make these days about drones. It's just kind of funny seeing the two between them. It's that was fine because it's Hollywood and there's money.
I like John's comment.
Which one?
Spacesuits.
Just your spacesuits. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Leon, let's put that up. Make sure that makes a thing for people that don't watch the thing. Did we see that tail cone before we go? Because now we have crept over the hour. The tail cone from I think it was from a C-17 that landed in a car park, didn't it? Did we all see that one? No? Yeah, just doink. It's just quite a chunk of metal. And doink.
If there's been a drone, someone would have died.
Exactly.
Was that one that Philip died?
Could have been. Yeah.
I just remember that's the only post I've seen recently with a piece of an aircraft.
Yeah, quite a chunk that would have gone through your car. Drone pilot who hit a chopper a while back around a construction zone somewhere in the USA. I'm not sure I remember that. I
don't remember that. No.
Construction zone. No, there was one by the Statue of Liberty. There was the one by at a race where the car ramped and smacked the drone, and the helicopter smacked the drone in a race. I don't know. I don't know is the honest answer. That's the honest answer. And with that honest answer, unless you gentlemen have got anything else that you can think of, hopefully then Simon will join us next week. Don't forget, if you're in the UK, Military International Drone Racing Tournament, that is a mouthful, is on at the Honourable Artillery Company in the centre of London, just by Moorfields Hospital. So go along and have a look at that if you want. There's a conference to go with that as well. And next week, Ian and Mark will be at DroneX along with Philip Rouse, and they'll see you there. And we will... the whole crew of Red Dwarf came into our pub once, and that sounds like a joke, but it's not. But it is. They came into the local. They came and drank there. It was really quite good fun.
A hologram walks up to the bar.
They are exactly. So yeah, and look out for some special videos, Ian, next week. So on that, dear viewer, look after yourselves. We'll see you at 2100 Gin and Tonic next week. Cheers for now. Take care, everybody.